Creatine versus steroids. Dangerous side effects, health risks, sudden cardiac death, hormonal shutdown, and what actually happens when you try to build muscle fast. One of these was found in an athlete's autopsy report. The other is the most researched muscle-building supplement in the world. Is creatine safe? Are anabolic steroids worth the risk? If you are over 50 and trying to build muscle naturally without destroying your heart, stay with me. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which one could shorten your life. What creatine and steroids actually do inside your body. Before we talk side effects, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your cells, because most fitness content treats you like you cannot handle real science. That ends today. Creatine is not some laboratory invention. Your liver, kidneys, and pancreas are producing 1 to 2 grams of it every single day right now. It comes from 3 amino acids: glycine, arginine, and methionine. When you eat steak or salmon, you are consuming creatine naturally. What it does inside your muscle cells is genuinely elegant. It donates a phosphate group to regenerate adenosine triphosphate, which is your muscle's primary energy currency. Think of your muscles as a revolver and creatine as the speed loader. You are not changing the gun. You are just reloading it faster. Here is something that will stop you mid-scroll. A 2023 meta-analysis reviewed over 700 individual studies on creatine monohydrate, making it the most researched sports supplement in human history. More research than most pharmaceutical drugs receive before hitting the market. 700 studies. I have linked the best creatine I personally use in the description below, so check that out and make sure you are not buying gas station garbage with filler ingredients. Now, steroids. Anabolic androgenic steroids are synthetic derivatives of testosterone. And people love the argument that testosterone is natural, so steroids cannot be that bad. That is like saying a campfire and a flamethrower are the same thing because they both involve fire. When you inject superphysiological doses of synthetic testosterone or derivatives like trenbolone, nandrolone, or stanozolol, you are overriding your entire endocrine system. You are walking into a nuclear power plant control room, shoving the engineer out of the chair and grabbing every lever yourself. And if you do not know what every button does, things melt down. And they do melt down. Stay with me because the meltdown details are coming, and they are worse than you think. The creatine side effects nobody is talking about. Let us talk about the creatine side effects the fitness industry either exaggerates or completely ignores, because both failures are costing you results and peace of mind. First, the so-called creatine bloat. Yes, creatine causes water retention, but here is what nobody explains. It pulls water inside the muscle cell itself, not underneath your skin. This is called cell volumization, and a 2022 study from the University of São Paulo confirmed that this intracellular hydration actually triggers anabolic signaling pathways. The water retention is part of the muscle-building mechanism. Your muscles are not bloated. They are loaded. So the next time someone tells you creatine makes you look puffy, kindly inform them they have confused intracellular hydration with their own weekend sodium binge. Now here is one that will genuinely surprise you. Creatine makes your brain work better. A 2023 randomized controlled trial from the University of Nottingham found that creatine supplementation improved short-term memory and cognitive processing speed in sleep-deprived adults by up to 15%. Your brain consumes roughly 20% of your body's total energy and relies heavily on the same phosphocreatine system your muscles use. So when you supplement with creatine, you are feeding your prefrontal cortex as much as your biceps. The United States Department of Defense has actually funded research investigating creatine for concussion recovery in military personnel. Your muscle supplement might be a brain supplement. Let that sit for a second. Here is one that is real and that men over 50 specifically need to hear. Creatine can temporarily elevate creatinine levels on a blood test, and creatinine is what doctors use to assess kidney function. So if you supplement with creatine and then go get blood work without telling your doctor, they will look at your results with that concerned face and start talking about referrals to specialists. But a 2021 systematic review in the Journal of Renal Nutrition confirmed that creatine does not impair kidney function in healthy individuals. Just tell your doctor you are taking it before your blood panel. One sentence. That is the entire solution. And finally, A 2022 study published in Scientific Reports found that creatine supplementation was associated with improved bone mineral density markers in older men. Your bones, not just your muscles. For men over 50 losing approximately 1% of bone density per year, this is not a minor footnote. That is a headline. The steroid side effects that will genuinely disturb you. All right, the mood shifts here. Pay attention because what follows is not in most fitness videos, and some of it is going to make you deeply uncomfortable. Good. It should. Anabolic steroid use causes left ventricular hypertrophy, a pathological thickening of the heart's main pumping chamber. And I am not talking about the healthy cardiac adaptation you get from consistent cardio. This is damaging and asymmetrical. A 2023 study published in Circulation Heart Failure from Massachusetts General Hospital used cardiac magnetic resonance imaging on long-term steroid users and found that 2 years after stopping steroids completely, the cardiac damage was still present. 2 years clean, and the heart had not recovered. The researchers called it irreversible cardiac remodeling. You can stop taking the steroids. Your heart might not stop paying for them. Now here is the side effect that makes every man in the room go completely silent. Long-term anabolic steroid use has been linked to fibrotic changes in erectile tissue, meaning the development of excess scar-like connective tissue that causes curvature, pain during erections, and in documented cases, permanent erectile dysfunction that does not respond to standard medications. A 2022 case series in the Journal of Sexual Medicine documented this in multiple men aged 30 to 45 who had used steroids for 18 months or longer. The changes were not reversible after stopping use. So let me be extremely direct. Some men are permanently damaging the one part of their anatomy that matters most to them on a personal level, in exchange for temporary muscle fullness. I am not trying to be provocative. I am trying to save you a catastrophic doctor's appointment. Here is one that shocked me personally. Long-term steroid use is associated with accelerated telomere shortening. Telomeres are the protective caps on your chromosomes and one of the most reliable biological markers of cellular aging. A 2022 study in Aging Cell found that long-term steroid users had telomere lengths equivalent to individuals 10 to 15 years older than their actual age. A 40-year-old man with several years of steroid use may have the cellular biology of a 55-year-old. Your photos look 25. Your chromosomes look 60. Nobody puts that in the transformation caption. And then there is steroid-induced hypogonadotropic hypogonadism. When you flood your body with synthetic testosterone, your brain detects the surplus and orders your testes to shut down natural production. Your testes literally atrophy. Most steroid users know this part. Here is what they do not know. A 2021 longitudinal study from the University of Copenhagen followed former steroid users for 5 years after they stopped and found that 30% still had testosterone levels below the clinical threshold for hypogonadism. 5 years later, these men now require medical testosterone therapy for life because they permanently disrupted their body's ability to produce it naturally. They used steroids to get more testosterone and ended up needing a doctor's prescription just to feel like themselves again. That is not irony. That is a medical tragedy. The autopsy, the verdict, and what you should do next. Here we are, the moment this entire video has been building toward. In 2022, a 26-year-old amateur bodybuilder in Brazil collapsed mid-training session and was pronounced dead on arrival. The autopsy, published in Forensic Science International, revealed biventricular cardiac hypertrophy, so severe that his heart weighed 580 grams. A normal adult male heart weighs between 300 and 350 grams. His heart was nearly double the normal weight, but dramatically weaker because extensive myocardial fibrosis had destroyed the electrical conduction system and triggered a fatal arrhythmia. The toxicology report found nandrolone, stanozolol, and trenbolone metabolites in his bloodstream. He had used anabolic steroids for approximately 3 years. No prior heart condition. No family history. 26 years old. That is the autopsy from the beginning of this video. Steroids. Not creatine. Not an illegal supplement. Anabolic steroids. In 2023, the American College of Cardiology published a position statement that explicitly separated creatine from steroids for the first time in terms of cardiovascular risk. Their conclusion was direct. Creatine monohydrate at recommended doses shows no evidence of adverse cardiovascular effects in healthy populations, while anabolic steroid use is associated with significantly elevated risk of sudden cardiac death, heart attack, stroke, and cardiomyopathy. The medical establishment finally said what the evidence has been saying for years. I am not here to judge anyone who has used or is currently using steroids. You are an adult, but you deserve complete information, not just the before and after photo. The fitness industry shows you the transformation. It does not show you the cardiac imaging. It does not show you the endocrinologist's office. It does not show you the autopsy report. Creatine monohydrate at 3 to 5 grams per day is the most researched, safest, and most effective legal supplement available for muscle performance. The creatine I personally use is in the description below. I vetted it myself, and I trust it completely. If you are a man over 50 and you want to build real muscle without gambling with your heart, your hormones, or your longevity, you do not need shortcuts that cost you everything. You need a smart, consistent, informed plan. Comment active right now for my free 30-day workout plan built specifically for men over 50. Comment ready for my free dietary plan to bulk up muscle safely and effectively. I built both because I genuinely care about your health and I want you to win without losing everything else in the process. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. It might be the most important thing you do for them today. See you in the next one. Stay strong. Stay informed. Stay here.